Have you ever wondered why important lessons have been ignored in the schooling system? We spend years doing algebra, algorithm, and memorizing history dates. But what about the practical life skills that are required in shaping our adulthood? And if you are able to build the gap between the present system of education and real life skills, you have been on the correct track. This video is going to completely transform you the way that you even perceive the education, and it's very important. This topic is very close to my heart because there are thousands of students out there who are going through formal education system and getting lost in the life and not able to achieve what they really wanted to achieve. Let me explain to you the history of the current education system going back in times. The ancient time of education goes back to 1500 BC or beyond, which is the Gurukula system of education. As the word suggests, Guru and Kula, the students would be going to the homes of Guru, irrespective of what the birth was like, whether they were Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudras or Vaishyas. Depending on which class of society they came from, they all learned together from the master, and based on the aptitude and skill sets, the master would put them to different segments of society. So if you're someone who's been inclined towards leadership, he would put you in the administration area. If they're more inclined towards intellectualism, he would make more to study on the scriptures. If they were more business oriented, they would go into business and trading. And those who are not inclined to these things, they would act as a support system to the entire society. So it was a beautifully running society. And do you know, India was the first richest economy in the world way before our education system that was established by the British in 1800s. So the kind of topics that the Guru would teach in the Gurukula was mathematics, logic, warfare, as well as philosophy and literature, because these were the foundational blocks for the people to enhance the critical thinking skills. The education at that was primarily oral. There were no books or textbooks, anything else, and it was mainly the interaction of the student and teacher that was creating a transformation in the student. And it was not so much about overloading with information or people memorize these things, but more of interactive lifestyle based approach. Now talking specifically about the Vedic scriptures like the Veda, these were the primary textbooks that were used for giving this or imparting this knowledge. And it was never about religion, and it was beyond religion, and people from all walks of life used to be there actually. And this education system went through a massive transformation during the medieval period with the introduction of universities like Takshila and Nalanda University. These were renowned centers of learning that attracted scholars from all over the world. And these scholars used to come and learn subjects like astronomy, mathematics, logic, philosophy and many others. And during this medieval period, the Mughal invasion has happened, that the time when they had introduced the madrasas, which emphasized Islamic teachings and Persian literature into the system. And with every invasion that has happened in India, this was new very well. If they had the control of the education system, they could transform the society to fall in line with the agendas. After Mughals, the British rule came into India. They brought about the education system that is prevalent even today right now. The British, they introduced the Western style of education that we know it today based on the recommendation of Lord Macaulay on whatever he had shared on 1835. Lord Macaulay's Minute on Education. Now, that became the foundation of building the education system that we see today. But not only in India, pretty much all over the world. So it was during this time that the English became the medium of the education, and the kind of subjects that were taught predominantly around English language, mathematics, literature, science, arithmetics, and this kind of topics. The reason that this kind of topics came into the forefront is because of the Industrial Revolution, which had already started, and it was also the time that they wanted an organized knowledge to create the workforce for the industry. So while the spirit of education that was prevailing in India was more of an entrepreneurial in nature, people would go to the Gurukula system or would go through universities like Nalanda and Takshila back in the day. They were more geared to be independent. Here there was a dependency that was brought into the society. So the British introduced things like University of Bombay, the University of Calcutta, the University of Madras, and all these formal bodies that would certify the people who are going through these institutions. And this laid the foundation of higher education in India. The post-independence, there was a lot of effort that was done to eliminate illiteracy in India by getting people in India to the formal education system that was introduced by the British. So it was during this time the government has introduced things like 10th plus 2 plus 3. 10 years up to 10th standard, then 12th standard, and 3 years of degree. All the system was introduced during this phase. The whole concept of primary education, secondary education, and higher education, and also the concept of undergraduation, post-graduation, and so on. And it was in the year 1956 the UGC, or the University Grants Commission, was established in India to maintain the standards across all those bodies, which means nobody can officially start a university unless they go through the UGC body. And in 2009 we had the right to education that made education compulsory for all kids from the age of 16 to 14. And if you see today, the education systems are the combination of both public sector and private sector education, which is teaching all different topics based on the foundation that was laid by the British. And these topics are pretty much science, commerce, maths, medicine, law, technology, and so on. And in the last 10 to 15 years, the focus of the education system was to create more engineers, doctors, and to some extent lawyers. And if you look at the parents whose kids were born in 80s and 90s, the whole aspect of inspiration is that how they can make their kid into a lawyer or doctor and send them to US and going through the higher study process. So while the formal education did its job in the 15 to 20 years, today we are living in a time where we are moving very fast. Technology is changing so fast, and by the time a curriculum is approved and for all process, the things are changing so fast. So there is a serious lag in the education system between what is relevant and what is that student really needs in the fast-paced digital age. So the point I like to illustrate is that the education system is going for a drastic change. So from a student point, it's so important that they should be ready to recoup with the changes that's happening. Wishing you only the best. This is Eldo George Burger signing off. Bye-bye.